friends. This is Chris Beckman. I'm the corporate chaplain for Ebenezer, and we want to welcome you to this series of reflections and devotions that we're doing to help support our families and residents and staff during this time of the pandemic. We hope you've been enjoying them, and we hope you've been enjoying the worship services we also have been creating every week. This reflection is already number 33 in our series, and the title I've given it is 33. And one of the things that I care about and kind of have fun with is numerology and numbers. And there are plenty of things in society and life that focus on numbers. And as you can imagine, in the church, numbers play a huge role in sort of the way that we orchestrate and keep track of our life in the church. The number 1 for the unity of God. The number 3 signifies the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. 4 is one of my favorite numbers, the number of Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And for many societies, 4 was also the number of the 4 directions. 12, of course, is an easy one for a lot of us. 12 was the number of the tribes of Israel. And, as it would have it, the number of the disciples. Anytime you hear the number 40 in any concept of a biblical tradition, your ears should go up, because 40 is one of the most important numbers in all of the life of our faith. How many days did it rain when Noah was on the ark? 40 days and 40 nights. How many years did Moses and the people of Israel wander in the wilderness? 40 years. How many days was Jesus, after his baptism, sent out into the wilderness to be tempted? 40 days and 40 nights, which is also where our history and tradition of Lent comes from, which is 40 days and 40 nights. I wonder how many of you are getting the number 33, though. 33rd reflection, 33. How many years old was Jesus when he died? 33. And I know that, and I'm reminded of that just about every time that I lead worship. The services that I'm doing here, I usually am wearing a white alb, but other services I wear a black robe called a cassock. And I actually have an old traditional one. And the part I love is the row of buttons that starts way up at the top of the collar and goes all the way down to my feet. Guess how many buttons are on my cassock? 33. One for each year of Jesus' life. Some of us may be wondering, Jesus was only 33 when he died? He only began his ministry when he was 30. His ministry is only 3 years long. And yet that 3 years, those 3 years of days, nearly 1,000 days, are what are the essential part of our life together as the people of faith. So they weren't very many years, but they were foundational and essential. And perhaps in our mind we'd be like, that went by so quickly. And yet for them, it was the foundational act of all of their faith. That sense of time has been messing with us a little bit during this time of COVID. I've been like, how in the world did we already get to 33 reflections? Can you even remember back to when we started doing all of this? When we started being in quarantine and we started being worried about testing and we started being worried about any of this? Most of us have lost track of time, and even to try to figure out, was it in February? Was it in March? How long ago was that? You see, the time between those first devotions and now, that's 33. And that maybe doesn't seem like so much. But look at how much has happened in between the start of this and now. Did any of you think about what was going to happen during this? Did you imagine that we'd have a rush on toilet paper? Did you imagine that you couldn't go to any store and find bleach? That yeast would be sold out at Target? That we wouldn't be able to see our families and our friends? Part of the journey during this time, friends, is to figure out ways touchstones for us to know that we will get through this time together. I don't know what it's going to be for you, dear friends. I know that when I put on my black robe and I put each button through the buttonhole, I find myself counting along with the buttons, knowing that I will always get to 33. And it'll be this gentle, kind reminder of walking with Jesus through the years of his life, stopping at 30 when I know he starts his ministry, and ending with 33, which is the time of his death and resurrection and the coming of the Holy Spirit into our lives. Part of it for me is just having this notebook that I've been writing all these devotions in. It's probably not important to anyone what I write in this. They're not perfect, and they're not going to probably last forever. And they don't have to. For me, they're a counting device that help me to kind of chart my course through this time of pandemic. What's going to work for you, dear friends? How are you going to mark this time? By buttoning up something, by writing in a certain place, by walking a certain path in your journey. I pray and hope that you will find things to help you mark this time, to give you somewhat a sense of an anchor in this time of pandemic. Whenever I button up my robe, I have one. When I open up my book, I have another. And I hope and pray that you too will find ways to mark the journey ahead. Blessings on the journey, and goodbye for now.